If I compare the students that came out of a school 15 years ago and today, they are even more problematic in terms of the skills and also the mentality. Because one thing is the skills. They might have good grades at school, but the mentality is that I'm not going to bother work very hard. I'm going to try to find, use AI, ChatGPT to do my assignments. Obviously, we need to integrate technology. We're not against technology, and students should be encouraged to make good use of AI. But of course, they should also be able to analyze. They should also have critical judgment and use their own practical examples to reflect on the theories. And you need also a lot of effort from the lecturers, which is another big thing. Because if the lecturer is there reading the slides and just giving the theory from a textbook, you've achieved nothing. And unfortunately, this is the majority of lecturers around us.
The teachers are on the front line.
Of course.
They are the ones that need to be super enthusiastic about their job. If they're not, then it's going to reflect onto the child or the student, that's getting taught.
A lot of the students study for the wrong reasons. Mm-hmm. They study just to tick boxes and please their parents or the society, especially in Cyprus. So a lot of them shouldn't be at the university. They should be more technical, do something else. Maybe they come back at a later stage. Once they've tested, because I see so many kids of 18 and they come into my office, they don't know what they want to study. They don't know why they want to study. And when I really challenge them, they say, it's just to please my father or mother.
Welcome to the Financial Frontiers podcast. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, hit that bell icon to get notified when we upload new content. Follow us on Spotify and give us a 5-star rating. It will help the channel, which I hope you love so much. Okay, here we go. Another Financial Frontiers podcast. Today, my guest is Yangos Hadjiyiannis.
Correct.
From the Cyprus Institute of Management, Cyprus Institute of Management.
It's CIM, Cyprus Business School.
Cyprus Business School.
Yes.
Right. You've changed your course of direction. It initially started as a marketing institute, but we'll get into this. This podcast is going to be more around education. So, in a sense, what an individual, the start of any individual's professional career. That's the kind of traditional way of thinking of it. But as we were discussing before we get started, this is 40-year-olds, 50-year-olds, 60-year-olds also do it. So there's different purposes, different means, but all for personal development and in some sense an underlying link to finance. So Yango, please introduce yourself. Tell us who you are. Let's get into this.
Yeah. First of all, thank you for the invitation. It's always a pleasure to be able to discuss issues that are of interest to many others. Myself, I've been working for CIM, Cyprus Business School, for the last 18 years. It's our family business. I'm second generation. And I'm really committed to what we do. We have a very strong vision and mission, providing education to students of all backgrounds. We're very diverse. We have always delivered classes in the evening, which means that we give the opportunity to professionals to come back and study, whether it's a first degree, whether it's a master's program, or whether it's just continuing professional education. Because as we say, and we've always said, learning never ends. It's a continuous process, especially today with technology advancing at such a rapid pace. We need to stay ahead of change through education. Of course, education is only part of the recipe. You need the professional experience, you need networking, you need many other things. And I think we have contributed immensely in the development of the Cypriot economy, because our focus is the Cypriot economy. And over the past 47 years, we have educated more than 10,000 executives. So we've done our own part, and we continue to do that in our own unique approach. We are the only institution that is focused on professional students. We are the only ones who deliver exclusively in the evenings. And of course, only through English, because we believe that you need to be global. You need to be able to transfer your skills outside of Cyprus as well. So we live in a globalized world, whether we like it or not. We love the Greek language, but English is the business language, and we need to give the best employability skills to our students. At the personal level, I've done my degree in law, and I did 2 masters, one in law, one in management. In the last decade or so, people know me more as a financial analyst because I'm regularly on TV and in the media discussing about the prospects of the Cypriot economy, the macro level of the global economy. And I see that different boards, which really help me to have a broader knowledge and understanding, both of the Cypriot, but also, of course, of the global economy.
Wow. Okay. So that, especially the last part where you're also a financial analyst, that is very home to a lot of my audience, which is, the target, initial target audience I had for Financial Frontiers. And I did know your face was familiar, and I was just trying to remember, where do I know you from?
I get that a lot because you're a financial analyst, you're not an influencer or an actor, so people see your face on TV, but they don't know exactly what you're doing. And I get that a lot. People would come up and say, "Are you an actor?" I said, "No." I comment on TV because this is really something I enjoy. This is something that I'm passionate about. And although I didn't study economics, I've been, reading and getting my insights. And of course, my daily interaction with all aspects of the economy, whether it's our business school, running a business, but also sitting at 3 boards, which are all economy related. So those give me access, insights, and of course, have me, understand better the broader perspective. And I think what the media want is people who can talk the common language as well, right. Not going at a very technical level. You have a couple of minutes on TV. People need to understand what you're talking about. The second thing is not to be connected to politics, so you don't have an agenda, so you're very independent, so you make sense without having a hidden agenda. And unfortunately in Cyprus, everybody, most of them at least have an agenda when they go on TV. And my agenda is just to be able to brief people, to explain in simple words what is happening, whether we should be worried about something, cautioning about government policies, European Union. And this is what I believe I've been doing quite well over the last few years. And that's why I kept going back.
Well done. So, when we talk about, you mentioned your second generation. So this is a family business. I think most people don't really understand. Sure, building something from scratch is really difficult. It is. But to be second generation and keep things going and not go through the process of, what does it take to build this thing brick by brick from the ground up, but to keep it going and be successful and be innovative and stay ahead of the times without having that might be even more, I don't know,
I fully resonate with what you're saying. Actually, it's one of the topics I love because I've given a lot of presentations, a lot of talks about, family businesses, second generation. Most don't get it right. For example, sometimes it's easier to build something from scratch because you are the entrepreneur, you have a vision. There's nobody, apart from the external environment, you want to succeed. Of course, you might fail, like all entrepreneurs might fail, but they keep on going. The problem with second generation is that you are working with your father or mother, your parents. So it's extremely difficult to also maintain a healthy relationship. And I've witnessed it with a lot of my friends because obviously Cyprus has a lot of family businesses. They say, second generation has some chances of succeeding. Third generation is almost destined to fail. So extremely difficult to go into third or fourth generation even and maintain some common values. I think what we've done, and it was successful, of course it was a struggle, especially the first 7 or 8 years, because you come in, I didn't want just to follow what was happening. I wanted to leave my own kind of stigma. I wanted to make sure that, I give a new perspective to things because every generation must bring their own perspective. What was done before was successful, but for a different era. So every era has its own challenges. You need to bring in technology. You need to restructure in terms of how you treat your staff, or what your staff looking for. So I went in and I needed to make sure that we continue, but at the same time, we create the possibilities for the next 30 or 40 years. I wasn't there just to follow on someone else's success. I was there to build, but also to make sure that the challenges that will be coming up will be resilient and strong to face them. And obviously, you go through a lot of difficulties. First of all, your colleagues accepting you as being capable and not just the son or the daughter. Right. That's the biggest challenge initially, to be accepted and respected. Mm-hmm. So it takes a bit of time, and you need to prove yourself. Right. You need to show that actually you came in to change things in a good way. The second thing is, of course, how you maintain a relationship with your father or mother, because working and having all these emotions coming in, it's extremely difficult task.
Of course.
I quit more than 10 times. I left on a Friday and I said never again, because I studied law, and I knew my friends who were studying with me law, they were making more money, they had more exciting times, and I was like, okay, why should I do this to myself? It was a torture initially. But then you see again longer, and you see the long perspective, you see the bigger picture, and say, okay, I'll give up some of my let's say fights. So you choose your fights, right. Give some space, because you're trying to. What I realized that you're trying to grab out of their hands their baby.
Yes.
So it's very difficult. Although your father or mother loves seeing you at work, they don't want you to be a disruptor. Yes. And without disrupting things, you cannot achieve things. Yes. So I went all in, a full throttle. I said, okay, I basically restructured everything from scratch. So it was like building it again. Also with the burden of having your father, watching
so even
by.
More challenging,
watching by and hindering the process. So it was like obstacles, one after the other. But okay, if you look at the long term, if you know where to stop, and also if you share common values in terms of our industry, for example, you can make a lot of money, but it's going to be very short term. If, for example, you don't keep your quality high, if you are not, following the proper pattern in terms of academic standards, if you are selling off degrees, or you are selling off visas to immigrants who come in, supposedly students, then of course you can make quick money, but then you ruin what the value and the mission and the vision. What we've done, and I've resisted the temptation of quick wins and short term for the sake of long term. And if there is one thing I'm very proud today, is that we have the respect and recognition of the market, of our competitors, of the industry, and I feel good about what we do. Obviously, we need more money. Obviously, profitability is always a question, a big question when you are raising the bar and you maintain high quality levels. And if I could say, one of the biggest problems in terms of how to solve the most difficult equation would be, how do you maintain high profitability and high quality?
Right.
And I think this is always, one of the things that puzzles me. But at least we share the common value in terms of education is important. It's not just selling of furniture or, retail goods. We need to be serious about what we do. We have an obligation towards our students and alumni. So we go for the long term, and I think this has paid off.
It happens, right? So that second generation, the positive part there is, is as you said, somebody who built something from scratch. The child comes, the second generation comes, and they kind of take out of your hands what you've built. But it takes it from, let's say, the first generation's part. It takes a lot of humility and pride. You got to swallow a bit of pride to say, maybe I'm not as up to date as the second generation, because you're bringing in fresh ideas. You're bringing in the way the world is adopted and the way things are changing. and we'll get into that, right? So technology, AI, is going to change the landscape of a lot of things. And I'm pretty sure in your industry as well, where, education is, ChatGPT can be a form of a teacher today as it is, right? I mean, that, and then, how do you incorporate that into your service offering, and then maintain quality and, stay ahead of your competition, I guess. And at the end of the day, it's just having the benefit of who your customer base is, right? So what are we here for? Well, we're here to educate professionals and do that in a way with it, that they're able to get out into the market and be of value. Right, learn something, whatever.
No, and technology gives a lot of possibilities because, for example, we are a boutique business school. We're not mass production. We're a small scale. We follow this and we share this kind of common idea that we give best service to our students. Small classrooms, a lot of interaction, a lot of networking. So when I joined, one of the top priorities was to introduce technology at the fullest sense, because we were like kind of Middle Ages when it comes to technology back in the day, because I felt like we cannot have the best premises, the best facilities, but we can have the best technology. Even if we are small, we can still invest in technology. We were the first institution to introduce a mobile app in Cyprus, so academic institution. So we were very proud of the fact that, for the first 4 or 5 years, my dad was always seeing expenditure. I was seeing investment, because we had to invest a lot in technology to make sure that we are actually very competitive when it comes to the new type of student, that we give them possibilities to be able to study as well because our students are professionals, so they travel a lot, they have work commitments, they have family commitments. So what we wanted to give them is flexibility. And that's why when COVID kicked in, we did extremely well, because we were so much prepared for that. Yeah. We had this technological infrastructure to support students from different locations to be able to study as much as possible from home. It's not, of course, ideal, but we were ready. We had minimum disruption. And that was, again, kind of a success story that, we gave very good service to our students, even though COVID was something extremely...
That would have been a great moment. And, this also depends on your character, but... I told you so moment to you.
Yeah. And as a manager, I'm pretty laid back. I give space to my staff. I don't do micromanagement. And I think that's kind of the culture we have today, that we have a great team and everybody's doing their own job. But I remember during COVID, I had to step in. I had to step in the front and take decisions, because everybody had different opinions. Academics had one opinion, students had another opinion, the administrative staff had a different opinion. And it's these kind of moments that, you need to do crisis management, and one person has to take responsibility for the decisions. So I had to go in the front. I had to take the difficult decisions, but I knew that we had the capabilities to support our students pretty well. Online, and to show to them that, they have paid their fees, they have committed for a program, and we will deliver on that promise, even though we had COVID and everybody was going through a difficult phase.
How many students are there now registered?
I have around 350 students. They are all local. We focus on the local market. This is, again, a conscious decision.
Yeah, so I was going to ask, what's the reasoning behind that? Why not get outside people come in?
We are very selective in terms of quality. Unfortunately, the majority of international students are not top quality. It's a kind of strategic decision. Of course, we welcome international students when they meet our criteria. There's no limit in terms of that, but we are very selective. We also, because of the nature of the school, that we are an evening school, so it means international students that come for student life, they wouldn't prefer us. They would go to the big universities. That's more fun. They have more activities. We say, we are more focused on the business education, which means that we attract mostly working professionals that have something else in the morning and they come to study at night. We have 20 nationalities, so we are diverse, but they all come within Cyprus, at least the majority. So we have different nationalities that are professionals who are already in Cyprus. They're here to work, and they do an extra degree, or their company sponsoring them, because we have a lot of strong relations with a lot of organizations that sponsor their staff. And you see the commitment, because it's a very different kind of type of student. The professional who is there 6 o'clock, tired after work, has family at home. So the fact that they do come to class and they enjoy the class, it means that they are sacrificing something else. So definitely they're not there to waste their time. They are very demanding, but we prefer students who are highly demanding rather than passive students who just get a degree for the sake of ticking a box. Yeah. And there, unfortunately, it has to, I'm not overgeneralize with the young generation, but there are students who just want to get a degree for the sake of the parents,
yes,
not for themselves.
Yes.
And because it has become a kind of a commodity. Everybody has a bachelor's, everybody has a master's. So it goes kind of with the trend. They don't believe in education so much. They're not willing to work very hard. And unfortunately, this is becoming kind of even a greater struggle with AI, because they might join a university, but their only intention is to find shortcuts, is to use technology out there just to save on the hard work that you should put, no matter if you're using technology or not, in order to be able to, when you graduate, to have transferable skills.
Right. Yeah, so obviously things are changing generally out in the workforce, and I guess maybe to a certain degree, the actual system, the educational system, but in my opinion, I think there's a lot of room for improvement.
Oh, for sure.
And I'd like to hear what CIM is doing on that front. So just to put a bit more context on what I'm saying here. So, for example, I've got my kids, they're in private school. My son is first year high school, so he's 12 years old, and they've got exams coming up now. So my daughter's not studying yet for the exams, but my son has started. And I remember when I was studying for exams, I remember being super highly stressed, and the ability to remember the stuff that we were learning. So you read the content and then you understand it, but this is so much content. When exam time comes, I wouldn't remember. So most of the questions, but my son yesterday was studying for this exam, and the exams, we were away for most of the Easter period. I hear like all these fellow students studying, whatever it is. And I go to my son, have you studied? He goes, yes. How long did it take you? It's an hour. So I'm like, I don't know. Are you sure? I mean, if I had to come and ask you questions now, are you going to be able to answer? And my son's doing good in school, but I don't know. This is the first time he's going to do exams. He writes exams. And I realized that the current system, as it is, he's going to have to remember the stuff. He reads it and he understands it, and I get what he's saying. But he's not going to be able to regurgitate the information. It's regurgitating the information. And so here's my question. So, like, I don't see how that will benefit.
Yeah. No, I fully agree. I mean, there are two things. One thing is that I say, all universities and business schools like us, we get a student at 18. Okay? So he or she has been in the system for 12 years.
That's the way they've learned. Yeah.
So how can we change this person in 3 or 4 years? We cannot do miracles. We can help them to grow. We can help them to find a specialization that they enjoy, because you get out of the system with doing a lot of different programs and then different kind of topics. And then you come to us and you do 1 or 2. So first of all, the system is problematic. exactly because there's no critical judgment. It's all about memorizing. It's a lot of pressure on the kids. They don't enjoy school. They hear about school and they want to run away. So one thing is that we cannot do miracles. We get someone who has already been in the educational system for 12, 13 years. So it's very difficult to change. The second thing is us as institutions, we're extremely regulated by the Ministry of Education, by the government. So they're trying to make us all the same. So they don't give us a lot of room to decide whether we do an exam or an assignment or different types of assessment, oral presentations. Everybody has to have exams. Everybody has to have assignments. So unfortunately, trying to establish a very strict framework gives us very little possibilities to maneuver. So we have to go over and beyond the framework and do extra workshops with the students and do presentations over and above their syllabus if we want to give them something extra. Because if all institutions and all universities, we generate kind of the same type of student, it doesn't make sense. We need to be able to develop students with different skills. We manage that because, exactly going back to your previous question, we're a small boutique operation. So when we have 10 or 15 students in a classroom, we really care to give them extra skills and we monitor them very closely. But it's extremely difficult to do that with 100 students in a class. You get lost in the crowd and it's only normal. So it's only a matter of numbers. So yes, we can do it, but we're a small operation. We're not impacting the total number of students coming out of higher education. In Cyprus, there are around 55,000 students studying in higher education at the moment. So we are a very small player. We are proud and we are a niche and we continue to be a niche. And this is our philosophy. We do other things to increase our turnover through more like B2B solutions. But what I'm seeing more and more is that you need extra effort year after year, because unfortunately, if I compare the students that came out of a school 15 years ago and today, they are even more problematic in terms of the skills and also the mentality. Because one thing is the skills. They might have good grades at school, but the mentality is that I'm not going to bother work very hard. I'm going to try to use AI, ChatGPT to do my assignments. Obviously, we need to integrate technology. We're not against technology, and students should be encouraged to make good use of AI. But of course, they should also be able to analyze. They should also have critical judgment and use their own practical examples to reflect on the theories. And you need also a lot of effort from the lecturers, which is another big thing. Because if the lecturer is there reading the slides and just giving the theory from a textbook, you've achieved nothing. And unfortunately, this is the majority of lecturers around us. I always give the example, how many teachers at school do you remember? 1, 2, 3. So I've seen 50 or 60 over my years at school. The same goes with my university. I don't remember a lot of them. What we have achieved is that our students have a very high percentage of satisfaction when it comes to their lecturers. But you need a lot of effort to do that. Because the lecturers must really care about each individual, because every person is different, and not just go there 3 hours, read the slides, go home. And this is what usually happens. And it's a result also of numbers. If you are a big operation, you cannot provide, customized solutions.
Yeah, I mean, and the regulation has come up a lot in this podcast, and mainly in the regulation around financial institutions. But and I've discussed this many times about how regulation is really important, but the problem is how it creates rigidity. Just keep adding regulation. It doesn't allow for a specific industry to innovate and move forward and progress.
Can you imagine that our regulation includes fees? So if I cannot charge whatever fees I want to charge, even though I'm a private institution. So I push for higher quality. How do I increase my revenue when I cannot increase my fees? So basically, it's more up to you whether you want to have high quality or not.
Yeah.
So if everybody is selling at the same price, degrees and masters, roughly the same price, then it's totally up to you if you keep investing in your people, your technology, your facilities or not.
It should change because, the thing is, the regulation always comes after things have changed. They come after the fact. And the regulation that exists today is most likely primarily built on how the world was working in the 80s. And that's not going to work because what use is there? You brought the two terms very correctly, is critical thinking versus memorizing. Does the world need somebody who remembers everything? Is that really necessary? It's not necessary, because what is anyone going to do? You're a lawyer, right? You got your legal stuff. If you go into law firm, you're not going to remember everything. You can't now possibly.
You should be able to have analytical skills.
That's
be able to find them. I mean, I remember at school we would remember the French Revolution, the Italian Revolution, every date. When Hitler invaded Poland and all of these things. Now it's like at your fingertips. Why should I remember when Hitler invaded Poland? I can get that information. It's more about the effect. What brought this kind of war, and understand.
Correct.
The analysis behind it, do reflection and understand what we should do as humankind, not to
repeat that.
Not when it was invaded.
And the dates and...
No. These are in old school. The problem is still our educational system. It starts from schools. Public schools it's very rigid. The teachers are not willing to go, think out of the box. They are afraid. They prefer to follow the same pattern that they've been following for like the last 50 years.
And they're not to blame,
No.
They've got a job. They're protecting their job. They're doing what they need to do. But it is super important that every single, it's the teachers that are on the front line.
Of course.
They are the ones that need to be super enthusiastic about their job. If they're not, then it's going to reflect onto the child or the student, that's getting taught.
And our job is exactly like that. I mean, I tell our faculty every year, we've done a great job to recruit students. We promise them that we are the best business school in Cyprus. We promised all of these things, great branding, events, and all of the rest. But now they will come into class. And it's up to you, whether we actually care for our students, whether we actually listen to our students. And, young kids, but also more mature students are very demanding. They are paying. They come 7:00 at night. They could be at home with their kids.
Yes.
So they are expecting a very, very good service. They are expecting a lecturer who's very well prepared, who can answer questions, who can stimulate them, because that's another thing. We're not looking only for attendance. Attendance, for me, doesn't count, because if the students are there on their mobile phones and, thinking about other things and just being there because they are afraid that we're going to penalize them, then it's not. What we want is students who interact, because that's more fun for the lecturer as well. No lecturer wants to talk for an hour. You talk for 10, 15 minutes, you interact, ask them to do a question, a quiz. You need effort. You need to change your style all the time in order to make sure that you maintain attention. Imagine if you're studying like we do until 10:00 at night in January, February, March. I mean, it's a very tough job to be able to be there, to concentrate, because everybody has anxiety, everybody has stress, family and work things. They're not the typical students that just come on campus and enjoy a good day on campus. This is not our students. So we need to provide them excellent service and also excellent support, mentoring, because they have a lot of problems, financial, personal problems. They come to us and they talk about their family problems. We're not going to solve them, but we need to understand.
It's good to have a community, somebody to talk to, get ideas. So, tell us about what courses there are. If I want to do a course over there, what kind of degrees there, what are the requirements? Coincidentally, I was actually looking myself at doing some kind. I don't have a degree myself. I started I went to university. I didn't finish, but got straight into business, let's call it. Then now I keep saying this, the jobs that I've landed needed a degree. One of the requirements was a degree, but I got to that job from just practical work. I was able to show that I can deliver whatever the degree requirement states. I'm able to deliver practically. I can do it. I can do this work. So what is so I've lost my chain of thought here. Let me just remember what I was saying over here.
You were asking me about the different degrees and
correct.
Yes.
What are the different degrees that you have? And is there a requirement? So do I need to have a bachelor degree to do a master?
Yeah. First of all, I mean, we are specialized institutions, so we offer 5 bachelor programs and 5 master programs. I don't believe in offering 100 programs. You cannot be the best. So our philosophy is to offer a few programs and be the best at what we do, and I think we have achieved that. So when it comes to bachelor programs, we have digital marketing, we have accounting and finance, we have law, we have shipping, and we have business management. So they are all business related, but it's not just marketing. As I said, we're leaders in shipping, in law, in accounting and finance. The master programs, we've been delivering an MBA for more than 35 years. We have an MBA in shipping, we have human resource, we have digital marketing. And since last September, we have an online MBA, the so-called eMBA. So all of these programs are fully accredited at the university level. Some are our programs, and we also have a collaboration with the University of West London. It's our long-standing partner for the last 15 years, the highest ranked UK university operating in Cyprus, so the best quality you can get. Mm-hmm. And that's a franchise model that we deliver under license from the university. So we give the opportunity, for example, to someone in Cyprus to get a UK degree instead of a Cyprus degree, 3 years shorter instead of 4 years. So shorter period of time, UK globally recognized with all the advantages of a London degree. But the admissions, when it comes to the University of West London, they're managed by the university. When it comes to our programs, they're fully managed by the Ministry of Education. And yes, the standard, according to the Ministry of Education, is that you need to have a bachelor's degree to get onto a master's. When it comes to the UK programs, they have an entry based on professional experience. It's a very different kind of approach in the UK. So the answer is that within Cyprus, when it comes to Cyprus qualification, the standard is that you need a bachelor's degree. Then we have to...
Sorry to interrupt you, but isn't our education system based on the UK?
It's similar, but before the UK left the EU, in general, EU leaves education up to each member state.
Okay.
So there are many differences actually between member states. Where admissions...
Because the colonization, because the UK was...
it's similar. There are similarities, but for example, Cyprus bachelors are 4 years, whereas UK bachelors are 3 years. Okay. That's a big difference. So admissions, it's up to each government to decide, and each university. So we have students with professional experience at different levels. We have students who are 18-year-olds, just finished school, and for whatever reason, they come to us because they want to work in the morning. We have different schemes with companies that actually can secure work from day one, which is a huge thing. So imagine the parents, you take their son or daughter at 18, you guarantee them work, they work in the morning, they get professional experience, they get full pay.
With which company? Any?
We are announcing a couple of schemes soon. We had it with Flyfish, a tech company last year.
Okay, I saw that.
And we are announcing 2 more schemes in the coming weeks.
So new other companies. So
yes,
they got a guaranteed job.
Guaranteed job, full salary, full payment of fees. So imagine the parents. This is paradise for parents.
This is magical.
You take their son or daughter, 0 investment, full experience. Best academic credentials you can get. So a combination of the two. Of course, you need to find, first of all, the companies will decide. So they want to choose the best. This is not for everyone. And the second thing is you need to find students who are committed and they just don't want to spend 4 years student life. They are willing to work hard, to build a career, but it fits very well with our profile of students, which are more committed, more hardworking, and more, let's say, ready to go into work.
that portfolio of individuals are superstars in my opinion.
And we have more and more companies coming because in this way we channel the best kind of students. A couple, they don't have to get, each company will decide how many they will get depending on demand, the profile of the students who apply. So it's up to them whether they get 3 or 4 or 5. But just imagine again, someone who works at a big corporation, they get experience, they get a full salary in the morning. At night, they study with us. The company pays for their fees, full or partially, depending on each organization. And it gives them, huge possibilities to, elevate themselves and be very different from the rest of the market.
I love that. How is the Flyfish? Is that not ongoing still?
No, it is still valid. Flyfish was open to any program. There was no limitation whether you go bachelor's or master's. They just select people who will fit their criteria. Of course, they will interview them. They will test them. They will make sure that they are fit for their company. And once approved, they fully fund their tuition fees.
That's it. So somebody
who's and the full salary. This is not an internship because you see a lot of schemes, going a couple of months, getting €500. No, it's not. This is a full salary package plus full payment of tuition fees.
That's amazing. In my opinion, that is the way it should be because you can't beat practical. You can't beat it, right? You can go to theory all day long. If you don't put the practical work there.
And this is the recipe because people come, let's say your profile, they've been in work for many years, they haven't done a formal education, and they say, shall I do a degree or not? And I say, a degree, it's not A to Z, it's not the answer to everything. A person might need a degree for various reasons, not just in terms of getting a better job. Maybe you don't need a better job, you have a fantastic job. But it gives you, of course, knowledge, it gives you status, it gives you self-appreciation. Others
makes the brain work.
It's a lot of things. I'm not saying that everybody, even though it's my kind of industry, everybody who gets a degree is better than someone who is already, in work. No, I'm not saying that at all, and I don't believe that. I don't even believe that everybody should be educated because a lot of the students study for the wrong reasons. They study just to tick boxes and please their parents or the society, especially in Cyprus. So a lot of them shouldn't be at the university. They should be more technical, do something else. Maybe they come back at a later stage. Once they've tested, because I see so many kids of 18 and they come into my office, they don't know what they want to study. They don't know why they want to study. And when I really challenge them, they say, it's just to please my father or mother. And this is a very honest answer. So my advice is, go out, get a job, try test different things for a couple of years and come back to study when you're 28, when you're 30. Then you appreciate education. And that's where I see a huge benefit for us when we get a 40 or 50-year-old in the class sitting next to the 18-year-old and they get very well together because one complements the other. The 18-year-old might be better with technology. The 40-year-old has the wisdom and the experience to guide the 18-year-old. So they don't only benefit from their tutors, they benefit a lot from their fellow students because they are different profiles, different types, different stages in their life. So it's a great thing for us to see all these different age groups coming together for a common purpose, to get a degree, and they build strong relationships, and they help one another with finding a job and many, many other benefits.
The 18-year-old gets all the insight that the 46-year-old had to live through the challenges or whatever.
And we even have, the other thing I really admire and I really appreciate is that we have a father and son, mother and daughter studying together.
That's amazing.
We have I've seen a lot of women, maybe 50, 55, and they come and say, my children are off now to university. I want something to stimulate my brain. I want a new challenge in my life. And those are the best students because they are really committed, because they love what they're doing it for all the right reasons.
100%. Pushing Alzheimer's further down the line. got to a bit of
Definitely.
a dark place there, but it's the truth, right?
No. You need to keep stimulating. And once they graduate, they're still thirsty for more. They're looking for new projects.
Good.
And I love the fact that, we've gotten over the kind of, I'm 50 or 55, I'm towards the end of my career, let's stay home and bake cakes.
What is the cost?
The cost is very, very reasonable. Our bachelor programs between 6,000 to 7,000 euro. So imagine getting a UK degree, 7,000 euro per year, in total 21,000 euro, compared to going to London, which would be 15,000, 60,000 euro just the fees, plus the living expenses would be 3 or 4 times more. So you get it in a smaller class, a separate environment with, lecturers and tutors that really care for you.
And this is the one from West London as well?
Yes. But all our programs are very reasonably priced, between 6 to 7. Masters between 7 to 8, so very reasonable. We make a lot of installment plans, so a lot of the employees, professionals, they pay monthly. We're very flexible, supportive. We have scholarship schemes with various organizations to help those in need. So in general, we are not just for the profit. We are a business, but we care a lot about the success of our students. And this has been, not me saying it, it's been there for 47 years. There is a track record.
And that is including all the material needed?
Yeah, there's no extra charge. These days, everything is online in terms of their resources. We have a physical library, of course, but most of the students, they want to be accessing things remotely, whether they are traveling, whether they are at work, whether they are ill, or whatever reason, they have everything at their fingertips. And of course, we are also there to support them through difficulties.
The EMBA?
The EMBA is a new project. To be honest, I was not against it, but I was hesitant initially because our USP as an institution has always been the personal approach, networking, interaction. And we've been getting a lot of demand for online programs. And we're not the first ones. I mean, it's been there in the market for many, many years. But because of this experience, for example, we've been running an MBA for more than 35 years, so we have a lot of experience, a very good name. So we've thought about it again and said, okay, let's try, let's test. Again, our philosophy is not to introduce 10 online programs at once. It's slowly and steadily. This has always been our philosophy. So we said, okay, let's test the MBA that we know very well. We have the faculty, we have all the experience in delivery, but move it online. We've started in September. The numbers have been really, really encouraging, really good numbers, very high profile people, a lot from the tech industry, locals, but also international employees who are mostly based in Cyprus. Again, the idea is that it's not only going to be Cyprus, like our own campus programs, but Middle East, Greece, Malta, we have very good links. So we're building the international crowd. The starting point was, of course, Cyprus, and the majority of the students are based within Cyprus. We even do a couple of physical workshops every couple of months to get them network, to get them interact, the ones that are based in Cyprus. But all the academic delivery is done online. Fantastic, 6,000 euro. It's one of very, very competitive. You cannot find a European accredited MBA 6,000 euro. It's not easy. So far, so good. Of course, we want to see the results at the end. My question mark is how to make sure that if someone gets an on-campus MBA and an online MBA, they get the same skills at the end. Because if someone works at your company, you don't care whether it was online delivery or on campus. You care it was a CIM MBA. It's a seal of quality. So we want to ensure that the end goal, the result, would be very, very similar. And this is something we want to test, but it's kind of a strategic decision that we are moving more master programs online. Not the bachelors. The bachelors is a different type of student. They need more support. We want to be played safe. But for the masters, we see that the professionals are extremely busy. It's very tough to come on campus. And going back to what I said before, it's not just to get them in the class.
It's to get them engaged.
And unfortunately, the way we live today is extremely difficult for someone to be 6 o'clock at our campus and be there for 3 or 4 hours. It's not easy.
Where is it?
Nicosia, Yangos Andreas, in the kind of center near the parliament. And we are based in Limassol near the Syrio Football Stadium. So we have the on-campus locations, but with the online programs, a small institution like us, going again back to what I said before about technology giving us a lot of possibilities. Now that we've set up all the infrastructure for the online delivery, it gives us a lot of possibilities, not only for master programs, but for short courses online to open up new markets, because Cyprus is extremely saturated. It's a very small market. So we need to look outwards when it comes to growing our revenue, growing our business.
So for the EMBA, how many hours commitment is there required there?
It's 18 months. Again, it's very kind of regulated by the government. You cannot do whatever you want. We have 2 live classes per month. And then you have the recorded classes plus the material, quizzes, ETVDs. Definitely, it's less of a commitment in terms of specific time and day. But when it comes to studying, attending on your own, there is still a lot of commitment. It's a master program. It's an academic program. It's not a professional certificate. So you need to make sure that the objectives are fulfilled. And as I said, so far, so good.
Good. Super interesting. Just trying to think on, so technology. Let's talk a little bit about technology over here, and how have you seen, because we have touched on it a bit. You did mention that technology is changing the landscape and changing your industry, but can you get specific? Give us how is technology changing the way the education, I guess, after school, how it's impacted it, and what are you doing to embrace it?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, students do assignments before kind of the AI hype. It was copy paste. Some students will not do the proper referencing. So there is software that we check assignments for plagiarism to make sure that it's actually their own work. The second thing, of course, is, in the last 2 years, AI has changed things a lot, because they use ChatGPT or other tools to generate the whole assignment.
And you can't pick up plagiarism that way.
We can.
How?
The software has a tool for detecting AI. Yes, there is. But
Yes. Let's touch on this a bit more. If I take if I write a piece, an essay, and then I take that essay and I paste it into ChatGPT and I say, reword this for me. And let's say my grammar is perfect, right? But it just rewords it. So 2 good pieces of content. I give it to you. You're able to tell me which one from ChatGPT?
95%, yes. We get 95%, not us. I mean, the software is global. It's used by all universities.
I'm super interested how they do that.
Yeah. But, okay, what all universities are saying is that we're not against AI or ChatGPT or any tool. It's the proper use. We say to the students, okay, if you want to paraphrase, as you say, reword, you can do it. It's not forbidden. What is forbidden is not to, let's say, write it in your own words first, or at least use AI to enhance your assignment. That's pretty fine. But of course, what we've seen is that students wouldn't even bother to fix things. They would just, and always when we have an interview, because there is a disciplinary procedure that we follow, I was too busy, my kid was sick, they find a lot of excuses to say that instead of not submitting, I tried, I tested, and the students, it's always like that. They will test to see what you take.
Right.
So if an institution is serious about education, they will fail them. We'll explain, of course, why we failed them, and give them the opportunity to listen. Unfortunately, it happens all around the world. Many institutions will just close their eyes, because that saves time and hassle, and let the student move on. And that's not what we do. We will not, kick them out, but we will discipline them. We will have a chat with them, explain how they should do a better use of AI, give them another opportunity to improve. But if you don't caution them, students will always, it's the same with cheating. we've seen a lot of students, over the last 47 years coming in exams with small pieces of papers, electronic watches. We've seen everything, okay? They will test.
Yeah.
And fair enough, they will see if you close your eyes and if you let them cheat, they will continue cheating.
Mm-hmm.
We had a big problem with the iWatches, the electronic watches, because we would take their mobile phones away and then they would have notes on their watches. Then we said, no watches. And, every couple of years, there is a new element because the human brain tries always to find shortcuts.
100%.
So it's totally up to us, the culture of the institution, to send signals. And the same goes to the faculty. If they, we always have this phrase that, we want our faculty to be friendly with students, but never friends with the students.
Right.
Where do you draw the line? And it's not easy. We live in Cyprus. We know each other. We're, pretty, connected. Very, very easy to find connections. So the faculty has to understand that, yes, we give a lot of support to the students. We help them. We groom them to become better. But we don't give them the exam questions to take home.
Right.
I mean, and it's all down to the culture of the institution. If the faculty or if the students think that, whatever they do, it's allowed just because you want to make more money and to, be hassle-free, then they will do it. It's just human nature. So we have a very strong kind of tradition in quality. We maintain that. We have an excellent, understanding with the students and the faculty, what is allowed, what is not allowed. And I think that's part of the success, but that's the long road. That's
right.
Not the fast road.
So technology, I guess you're using to pick out the cheaters, let's call it.
Also the resources. I mean, we've talked before about, facilities, physical libraries.
Yeah.
I remember, when I joined 17, 18 years ago, one of the things that, I was trying is to buy books, is to get more journals, to stack them in the library, both for regulatory purposes, but also for the sake of the students. And now, who goes to the library?
Yeah.
I mean, the physical libraries are redundant.
Yes.
I mean, we still have them because the regulation requires us. Very little traffic, especially our students, professional students. They want everything online. How do you search catalogs, physically?
Yeah.
And you have the librarians sitting there waiting for a student to go in. Things have changed. And if we don't give easy access to our students, to journals, to publications, to be able 1 o'clock in the morning or 2 o'clock in the morning or 3 o'clock in the morning or on a plane to be able to access material, then we've lost our students.
Yes. Remember, I think we must be of the same age, more or less. I'm actually as old as your institute. The libraries were full when we
I remember, I'm slightly younger, I'm 43, but when I was at the university 20 years ago, we would finish class, let's say 11 o'clock in the morning, and I would leave 5 or 10 minutes trying to sneak out so I could dash to the library before everybody else, get the book, photocopy. I didn't like taking books at home, so I would, use all this money on photocopy cards to get 20 or 30 pages that you were allowed to take. Yeah. So I can take them home and study at my own place. So then it was, of course, exam period. You would go to the library, you go mental because everybody was working hard. Everybody was there. It's like, who goes to the library nowadays? I mean, it's photocopy cards. Imagine, highlighting. I don't remember how many pages I would highlight. Yeah. Highlight, print. I mean, it was, and then I would make notes out of them with my own kind of writing, so I can memorize. And yes, memorizing. That was the process for memorizing. But who dashes to the library now to photocopy books in order to? It's like, and that was 20 years ago, not 200 years ago. Yes. So now people are like very, very different. They want easy access at any time, any place. Yes. And that's, where the online MBA comes in. People might say, for 3 months I'm in Dubai. nothing changes. I still study. I still continue working remotely. I'm home. Most people do not go to work. They work remotely. Would they come to study on campus? Okay, you always need the balance. I'm not saying that we move everything online. That's not my kind of idea. But
I think it's a good idea that you have the workshops. So for the EMBA, where you mentioned, where you get the workshops, and also the twice per week live sessions. I think that helps as well.
Yeah, even the system is not helping us, because in Cyprus the regulation says online or on campus. Many students now are asking both.
Yeah.
They say,
a hybrid,
I want to be an online student, but I want to come on campus whenever I feel like.
Yes.
Dropping by.
Give me the flexibility.
Yeah, and it's not allowed. There are different programs with different setup, so we don't merge the two. But it should, if someone is based in Cyprus, of course. If they're based somewhere else, okay, they cannot do it. But if they're based in Cyprus, why not give them the possibility?
Yeah. Does the EMBA have a requirement for bachelor degree?
Yes.
Because it's under the Cyprus...
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
But that's the, kind of element that people are looking for flexibility. And I say the magic word is convenience. I'm paying, I'm the customer.
Yeah.
I don't want to come every week to class on campus.
I cannot. Yeah.
I want to come by whenever I feel like it. We've been asked a lot to have hybrid classes, which we don't. We are kind of hesitant again, because if you have a small class of 10 or 15 and suddenly you give them the access from home, then you have 5 on campus and 10 at home. And it's very complicated. If you have 100 students, maybe it makes some sense. But for the on-campus programs, it's not allowed to have hybrid. But more students are asking for it. More students want to have this possibility, and they say, especially after COVID, why should I come to class? I want to record the class and I can watch it later. Is it the same? Are the skills? And then you don't want to go to the extreme kind of side of not being able to socialize, to network. And it goes probably kind of the same questions with remote working or physical working, or balance.
Interesting. So, Yango, we've been speaking, I think, how long has it been? Almost an hour here. Was there anything that you wanted to bring up to the attention of the audience with regard to CIM, your programs? Have I missed something, I guess, that's quite important that you would have wanted to
what I wanted to say is that, we know who we are. We've been very kind of dedicated to our kind of vision and mission. These days, we're focusing more on the online master programs in the next couple of years. And also the B2B, the corporate, we are very strongly connected with the industry. We offer solutions, whether it's training, consulting, or customized programs for organizations, non-academic. We also have different scholarship schemes for employees to study through sponsorships. And let's say the biggest development of the last 2 years is our groundbreaking collaboration with the University of Cambridge for executive education. This is a massive deal because the University of Cambridge is, of course, the world's #2 university. It's the first time they do anything outside the UK. So the idea is that top-level executives, they gather together, they do a short course, executive education. We get to choose any program of the University of Cambridge that we feel is appropriate for the market. We get not only from Cyprus, but from the region as well. We have 2 programs this year, the AI program end of May and the leadership program in December. And it's, of course, excellent knowledge transfer, networking. It's a big reward for employees who get chosen by their companies to attend these programs. 25, so it's very exclusive, and everything happens directly from Cambridge. The same team will deliver it, the same content, the same certification. Nothing changes, only the location. And just the association with the university of this caliber and offering the possibility to local executives to get the certification, I think it's a big development, and it's a great offering for Cypriot and international companies, because if someone is based in Saudi Arabia or Israel or Lebanon, instead of sending their staff to the UK, they send their staff to Cyprus, they do their training, they do their networking, and they get their certification.
Mm-hmm. Just as, you're explaining this and, kind of these ideas that have been thrown. And I don't know if there are others that are doing what you're doing with like Flyfish or these other companies that you spoke about that are going to be revealed. I think, and then this is just my opinion, and I honestly don't know if this is already happening, but I think that is the direction that there's got to be this integration from the education system into the workforce, the marketplace.
I fully agree. And the government is trying very hard to bridge the gap between academia and industry. It's not easy. It's not easy because most universities are morning universities with typical students.
Yes.
So they are not willing to go and work. They might do internships. They're not bad. Couple of weeks, a month or two in the summer. But we are talking about something very different here, because it has a very strong social element as well.
Yes.
Given the fact that you can provide the opportunity to someone who doesn't have the money to study, to have a clear career path. So it's not only for those 3 years. This person, if he or she does well, and if they keep up with expectations of the company, they will be offered a full contract at the end. So it's a great package. And for us, the goal is to have 6 or 7 or 8 different schemes with different organizations of different type, audit firms, finance firms, banks, etc. Mm-hmm. So we give options to the students, to the parents, to the society.
So 100%. And I think if these institutions go towards that direction, you can get really efficient and productive with how this looks. And I'll give you, just from my small perspective, let's call it, with my company at DGM, right? So not exactly as the way you're doing it, where I don't know if I've understood it correctly, but let's say an institution will pay for whatever degrees that you already have in place. Mm-hmm. And it might not be directly linked to what the actual job role is. But here's what I'm trying to do over here at DGM, and this is without an institution. And I just thought, a collaboration, if it was feasible, right, with an institution, because there's also, this takes money, this takes effort. It's got to be, it's got to make sense. It's got to be beneficial to both. But what I'm trying to do here at DGM is I've got different departments, right? So there's the core department and there's the front level support. The front level support team is the individuals who don't need, I can get a fresh graduate or somebody with no experience. It is on the low, like starting salary, a little bit higher salary. And the idea there is I want to have, we're building almost like a university course, like a 2-year plan where these individuals come in, are productive from day one, because for them to be, to provide value in the position doesn't really require much experience for the beginning, maybe a month or 2 months training, just to be able to kind of monitor systems and have communicate with clients. So it's not a lot, but in the interim, they're gearing themselves towards this higher position where it's a higher paying salary. And what I've told my team over here is I want this to be almost like a proper university course. But we're not a university institution. We don't know how to build a course. And it isn't really recognized. So it's only as recognizable as, somebody who's lived, who's at DGM has gained experience, then, for our specific target audience, target market, the subject matter. So then that's very specific to, say, brokerage firms. But if we could collaborate with an institution and link up their first 3-4 years of their professional career with a degree that is recognized generally, but very specific to the job, not just a general degree, but a specific, so in our case over here, so MetaTrader, like actual systems, and have a course around, the training around MetaTrader. What it's like, a trader. What does a trader do? What are the swaps? Like getting really niche in each job role. And I'm speaking about my company and what we do. There are thousands. I guess there are thousands, right? Where, and this is a challenge. Like, how would an institution like yours, let's say you're very bespoke, small, but even a bigger university, how could they create so many different multiple courses that link up to all these businesses that are very specific to the job role? But I'm just thinking out loud.
I fully get what you're saying. I mean, it can be done. It takes time to get a program up and running, validated. But we're always here to listen to the market needs. I mean, this is, it helps us a lot to interact with the companies, not just for the sake of, doing business with them, but it makes us relevant in terms of what we offer. Yes, even, our general courses, we try to make the market relevant. We get a lot of extra workshops, guest lecturers to, infuse the programs with the elements that the market needs.
Yeah, because then you've got to link it up as close as possible to what is actually happening practically.
Correct. So, yeah, I think this is the recipe. I fully agree that the industry and the academic world need to come much closer. We've been doing it, but we're small to impact the market. We will continue to be doing that. Try to add value for the companies, especially today that unemployment is not existent. So there's shortage of high caliber people working for companies. We need to make sure that our students have a competitive edge. And this is what we've been doing for 47 years.
Awesome. Yango, thank you very much for your time.
Pleasure, always pleasure.
It was a pleasure to talk to you. From presenting in different channels on TV to podcasts. This is a different medium, I guess. Thank you for your time and your insight here.
Thank you for inviting me.
And that's a wrap.